Okay. I honestly can't count how many hours of video footage from people on the ground in Lahaina and Maui that I've actually watched, and also to contacting people on Facebook or those that have contacted me from Facebook or directly via email that are actually on the island. I was even asking someone just right before making this video on updates, and he says he's been avoiding it the past day and a half because it's too depressing. He has a little daughter. Very nice guy. On a side note, before actually starting this video, I have 2 or 3 wallets made. Of course, I can make some more. This is a wallet I made out of Python, and I got a nearly a 16-foot roll of Python here, and making wallets. I can make belts too. I'm hoping the best for California. I complain about California, and I live there in East Bay, San Francisco, with my wife for some time. But I mean, California, a great deal of it's incredibly beautiful, but you know, obviously the policies and whatnot that are making everybody flee is another matter. But I hope everything goes well on the hurricane that's headed there. It's supposed to hit sometime tomorrow. And before this What's Going On video that everybody seems to like to watch, and I love reading all the comments, and I'll find out stuff that, of course, never, ever is making the news. I can actually, this sounds like a joke until I tell you why. This is Lexington, Kentucky. There's no new laws here about the ganja. I've never done it myself. The smell of it actually makes me violently ill. Like, I mean, I can smell it from very far off. That's not why I'm talking about this. I can actually say definitively that I can smell things getting more desperate because this very normal town, which has always had a really good economy, I used to never smell it. Maybe once a year, like a car ahead of me or passing me. I could just, I'm so sensitive to that absolutely disgusting smell that I mean, I could really smell it. Once a year, maybe, even like starting 4 years ago, up and ever since before then. Maybe once a year, maybe. I kid you not, I cannot go a day where I don't go to get groceries or go do something and I'm 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, whatever, car lengths behind. I can smell it every day that I go out. I know people are smoking that stuff due to extreme anxiety and stress and whatnot. I don't care what people do, you know, their own. Of course, that's technically illegal. You're not supposed to drive impaired. But I mean, every day. So it went from maybe once a year to virtually every day. Every day, I got about like a 95% chance of smelling. So I don't know what you make of that. You can say that means nothing, and that's anecdotal, but I'm telling you that I can actually smell people's desperation. I've been telling you now for some time, and there was a warning from Hair Q-Tip's daughter that the next thing is coming is quote-unquote climate lockdown poppycock rubbish nonsense. You take your pick. I said it was coming, and there really is no doubt whatsoever that it is coming. Here's the problem too, and this is occurring not just in the United States but globally. The problem is being created, and the problem is itself the solution to usher in, you know, a WEF or NWO solution, and it ain't the solution that you're looking for. Large blue cities are descending into absolute chaos. I don't want to get into the details of this, but you can find it. It's made breaking news the past day or so. Look up Andy Ngo. His last name is spelled N-G-O, and read about the court case that happened to him in his trial, where he brought some people to court that had assaulted him. They admitted to all of it. You remember, they even made a movie. They made many movies about it, about Al Capone. Al Capone would always get off in trial because he would bribe and or intimidate the judges and the jury. So this entity that Andy Ngo is bringing to trial, well, you just Google his name and his court case, you can read all about it. They admitted, the people that he's accusing in the trial, of, harming him. And other of those entities gave him a concussion and some sort of, like a minor stroke or something like that. They admitted to all of this. But the lawyer for this evil entity that he was going after said that he was taking note of the faces of everybody. There's actual jury intimidation. There's just no doubt that it happened. There's video footage of it. But, I mean, this harkens back to the Al Capone days. Like Al Capone, of course, the federal government had to put their full weight on Capone. But up until then, he'd skate scot-free because, people are spineless, and he kept intimidating the jury. So that's what actually happened to Andy Ngo. I've known, and this happened on the Red Cross, I've known my entire life that that particular entity, we think they do good, and they do some, but there's a huge scandal at 9/11 and I think Hurricane Katrina, and most of you might have forgotten, but the Red Cross was found guilty of actually taking the money, that endless amounts of money, just a mountain of money donated to them, that entity, and using it for things that had nothing to do with helping people, like propaganda, brainwashing literature, all sorts of political trash, and their donations fell off. There's actually a lot of reports coming out of Lahaina and West End, Maui, about what is happening. I've known my entire life that entity, and my rich buddy is the most honest person in the world. I've known him most of my entire life. He would never, ever donate to the Red Cross, rather to anything else to make it happen. So I'm just stating that on the side there. So Lahaina, the sirens didn't go off. The guy, I don't know if you've seen the interview, he admitted that he's proud of the fact that he's like, don't you feel bad about it? I think he was asked if he felt bad about it. He said no. So these were for tsunami, tsunami warning sirens. His whole premise, he was probably forced to resign. He said it was for health reasons, but absolutely pure evil. Many of the locals said that the water was shut off. Internet service went down before. There's video of a power line sparking into the brush. How real that is, I don't know. Multiple videos, including one that I saw, which was really convincing, said that the government had people corral them in their cars towards the danger zone in Lahaina. Multiple confirmation of peeps in Lahaina who said that their homes which didn't burn, or their apartments, they returned to their home to find an eviction notice on the door. We thought that this was, and so did I superficially, the truth is always right underneath the superficiality of things, that the Hawaiian governor, Josh Green, sorry, some mosquitoes bit my leg, I was outside doing some stuff, announced that his administration was considering acquiring properties in the town of Lahaina that had not been destroyed by recent wildfires. And he said, well, he was vowing to prevent foreign entities and buyers and real estate speculators from buying up and swooping in to exploit the tragedy. But the truth is, and these are his words, he suggested that the state was better suited to take control of the land. So we've superficially thought, well, great, the government is going to keep people from swooping in and taking advantage of people and buying their land. Like, well, if he stops that, that's good. I've always known that the government of Hawaii is extremely corrupt. I mean, they make California look like a red state by comparison. I've always known that. Not only that, all the locals that have contacted me said the same thing. They're absolutely disgusted about how corrupt, kind of like a mafioso sort of level of corruption of the government of Hawaii. These are people in Maui, and I've been there once, and I have a really keen eye. I've been to the Big Island and Oahu. You could just see just the corruption. It is just a very corrupt state. And the locals confirmed to me that it's actually way more corrupt than even I thought. So he said that you're going to keep the outsiders from buying up the land, but they want the state to take better control of the land. In other words, somehow it's going to fall into the hands of the state in whatever form. And actually, I read some of the details about what they plan on doing with some of the lands that they're going to try to get back. There's an issue that people in Hawaii confirm, locals, that the climate crazies who don't believe in controlled burns and curbing brush cause this. And I know there's endless speculation about DEW. I have no direct empirical knowledge on that, so to talk about it and to inflame stuff on random speculation like that, I should not talk about that, because really needs some empirical facts and some substantial evidence behind that. I don't dismiss anything in the quest for truth. I have, however, seen records, and there's a meeting in September. They want Hawaii to be the first smart island. Not Hawaii, excuse me. Hawaii is a string of islands. I meant to say Maui. Sorry about that. Even I've been to Hawaii, Oahu, and the Big Island. They want Maui to be the first smart island. I've seen the records, the detailed PDF files. Many people sent me links to those, and it's real. Something like over 500 dead and still nearly 1,000 people missing. Many people, locals, saying that their family members have been contacted by vultures to try to sell their land. There's huge fires going on in Canada. I think all of Yellowknife has been evacuated. I've been talking to Canadians. And let's once again, Hurricane Hillary. How appropriate hurricane name. Hurricane Hillary is about to hit Southern California. I'm talking to the Aussies, and there's lots of bad stuff happening in Australia. He sent me some pictures just a few hours ago of tents in Sydney parks. One place we didn't think that we'd see it in Australia, because real estate there has gotten so astronomically high. Also, too, the Australian dollar has continued a major downward spiral today, dropping almost a full percentage point to a 9-month low. So there's increasing homelessness going on in Australia. People cannot afford to actually live, regardless of whether it be, a cheap apartment, and certainly not so a home. There are multiple reports that airport agents have leaked, one in particular, leaked information that there are mid-September COOF lockdowns coming. The TSA, somebody high up in the TSA, whether this is true or not, I have no idea, but there are multiple confirmations that the TSA says that there is on record planned lockdowns for mid-September, which is just about, it's basically just right at a month away from now. There's another report that essentially says that this time next year in the United States, the majority of average people, whatever you consider the average income to be, your average hardworking Joe Blow, the majority of people will have run out of all of their savings. Because right now I know for a fact that people are draining their savings. I have an extremely good eye on the zeitgeist and what goes on in society. I really do. I really have my eyes peeled and I have my head on a swivel. I've always done that my entire life, and if I'm not good at anything, I'm good at a few things, but I'm definitely good at that. Washington State's Great Fires tripled in size to 9,500 acres in hours as 185 buildings are destroyed, one person's killed. Entire town of Medical Lake is told to evacuate. Canadian wildfire that jumped the lake grows 100-fold in 24 hours as 45-mile-per-hour winds, fanning the flames with a significant number of homes destroyed, and many, many thousands are forced to evacuate. It's almost like things are being set into motion that are not natural. And of course, I know wildfires occur. There is a huge, and it doesn't matter if you think that they're intentionally set or if, because the net result is exactly the same. You can either have them intentionally set, X number of them, all of them, I can't tell you which, and you don't know the answer to that either. Or you could say that these are absolutely horrific and they're natural, but they're still unnatural, and therefore ultimately the net result is no different than being set, because it has been confirmed by countless sources, countless, literally people that do that as their job. And mosquitoes really bit my leg, sorry about that. That there has been extremely bad, meaning non-existent brush control and lack of controlled burns. So now we've developed a crisis that man has created. Doesn't matter if it's intentionally set or if it's turned into, you know, a fireworks factory right next to the match burning factory. You still have the same net result. Like, oh, look at that. We need climate lockdowns. The whole earth is burning. The net result is the same. You know, I find it interesting, and this is an important comment, and I'd like you to think about that, that this evil entity of the WEF and the NWO, which I've, you know, lovingly called Hydra because they're pure evil, are trying to reset the world. They're trying to fearmonger normal-minded people over invisible enemies, stuff that they can't lay their finger on. Be afraid, you know, be very, very afraid. When you control people's fear, then you can make them do things you want them to do. And the ultimate goal of that, you fearmonger them, you make them do things they want to do, and then you bring them to the edge of a cliff where you've got them on their knees. And once you got them on their knees, then they're putty in your hands. All these invisible entities over the past few years, and they just keep popping up. So make note of these invisible entities. The COOF, climate, oh no, the world's burning, oh no, it's climate change. This is being fearmongered globally. It wasn't, the fires weren't even over in Lahaina and Maui. Oh, it's a climate change, burning because of climate. This is not my opinion, this is a fact. The governor was saying this, various entities. Remember when Schwarzenegger said, and I've watched the video again, he said it a few years ago, you remember when Schwarzenegger said, screw your freedom? I can't imitate his accent. Screw your freedom, yeah. Remember that? Let me repeat Arnold Schwarzenegger once again. We're talking about people, you know, trying to live their lives and pay their bills, go back to work. Screw your freedom! I'm sorry, I had to quote Schwarzenegger there for a minute. I just wanted to make you draw your mind back to just a couple years ago. So these are the invisible entities, and there's a long list of them. Be afraid, direct you where they want you to go. Then you get them on their knees, and then it's all over with. Virus, climate, aliens, cyber attack, EMP, solar flares. There's more than just these. But have you made note of the fact that all the fear that's being pushed on people are things that you can't hold in your hand and are objectively, visually not palpable? You can't lay your hands on it. Because if you lay your hands on it, you can take care of the problem. Oh no, this is this invisible thing you need to be so afraid of. It's the climate, it's the COOF, it's aliens, it's the cyber attack, it's EMP. We need to do this. Oh, your banks aren't safe anymore. We had a huge cyber attack. You know, we had billions of dollars were siphoned off into unknown accounts, and we're going to fix that for you by implementing CBDC. A leads to B, leads to C, and C leads back to A again. This is where things are created. Create a problem, usher in a solution. The solution is already present, but first you got to create a problem that you yourself created. Oh my God, there's the problem. Look at that. We got a solution for you. Of course, the solution is to direct you. First, to fear, because people make irrational decisions when they're afraid. First, to make you afraid, direct you, but they're directing you to the edge of the cliff, bring you to your knees. Then it's all over with. I'm hearing amazing, horrible things out of Canada. These fires. It's the first time in my life. I could see, I actually had some breathing issues. And I'm all the way in here in Kentucky, a very, very, very long distance from the Canadian border. They're warning about more of that stuff happening next week. The Aussie dollar is crashing. People are homeless all over the place, and they can't afford to live no matter how hard they work. I saw a great video from a guy from the Bahamas. He's been living in Canada for 20 years, and he can't make it. He's got to return back to the Bahamas. He's a Bahamian. And this time next year, sometime about this time next year, the average Joe will have run out of all their savings. And that kind of seems like bringing people to their knees when nobody has any more options. People need to be uncontrollable. I, myself, will not comply. I will not. I don't care about property taxes. They're not going to take me off my land. They are not. I have trees to heat my cabin. I have a spring in a cave with unlimited supply of water. They do not want you. You need to think about the things they don't want you to have. That would be land, water, and the fact that you're not, I'm going to call it be declawed, you know? If you were a cat, they would want you to be defanged and declawed. And spayed and neutered. Don't forget that. Actually, everything the government's been trying to do globally, not just the United States, for the past few years, is to treat you like the cats that, you know, and it's really horrible to do that to a cat. But some people actually make their cat that way. They just want it to be like some sort of safe, plushy toy, you know? You know, it eats and poops, which is bad enough for them, but they don't dare have that cat have claws or teeth or the ability to reproduce. So they want you declawed, defanged, and or spayed, and all of those, spayed and neutered. Spayed and neutered, declawed, and defanged. This is a text from a guy out in the west. Fire is extremely hot, extremely fast-moving, insane. They were able to travel very vast distances. The Kelowna area fire jumped the lake, and the Shuswap fire jumped a large river to burn everything in its path. Hundreds of thousands of peoples and animals are evacuated. Homes are lost. Businesses are destroyed. Tens of thousands of acres burned, all in a single day. I have friends on the north side of Shuswap Lake, way in, one way out, one way in, one way out. When the bridge closed, many people were trapped and couldn't get out. Still there, they're still there, I guess. I hope they make it. I don't know. The fires are still going on. More devastation today. Kelowna is a city of a population of just over 100,000, is about to go up in flames. So Yellowknife's been evacuated. Oh, the entire BC government of Canada, British Columbia, government of Canada has declared a province-wide state of emergency. Don't succumb to fear. Stop being afraid of invisible enemies. Use common sense and logic. And please, I don't tell anybody what to do, but please stop telling yourself to pay attention to what government. There's no government on this earth that cares a single damn about you. I'm sorry, you can disagree with me all you want. This is my video, and I make that declarative statement, and it is an absolute. The government does not care about you. Oh, another one guy. He was in the he was in the Army. I was watching a video guy, and he was on Maui when a hurricane hit in '92. I think, was it Maui? Or was it, I think it was Maui. I could be wrong. It was a hurricane in '92. And he said hours after the hurricane hit in Maui, forgive me if I got the city wrong and the island wrong in Hawaii, he said within hours, airships and helicopters mobilized from Oahu and flew over enormous amounts of supplies within hours. That was, what, way over 25 years ago, right? And here it is many, many days later on Maui, and nothing. Bupkis, jack squat. FEMA is not allowing supplies to get in. Countless locals report that. That's not my opinion. I'm not there. They're saying that, where is everybody? There's nothing here. The only help that they're getting is from the locals. Why the hell is the government not there? Not that I'm for the government, but you know, you dump in all this money, your taxpayer money. You know, the guy's talking about massive mobilization within hours during the hurricane, well over 20 years ago. And now, many days later, nothing. Why is nobody talking about that? Why? So please keep aware what evil Hydra is trying to do. They're trying to fearmonger you, to bring you to your knees, so then they have total control over you, over invisible entities. The COOF, climate, aliens, cyber attack, EMP, solar flares. There's a list of other invisible things. They're trying to make you afraid over invisibles. So, I wish Lahaina the best, all the people of Yellowknife, Canada. Whew, I feel so bad for Canada. I almost don't want to say this, but I'll be brutally honest. If I'm lying, I'm dying. I heard some horror stories out of Canada about the tyranny and the awfulness of all the things that are happening in Canada. And I nearly shed a tear. I mean, I don't get emotional. I really don't. But I'm not lying when I tell you that. I mean, I'm not really trying to pick on Canada. I got a lot of Canadians that I like a lot. They're, great folk, generally. They're a little too nice, but that's a good fault to have, right? Just a little too nice. I wish the Canadians actually would stand up for themselves and stop letting themselves get, oppressed and bent into knots like a straw. They're kind of like Australians. With the Aussie motto, the Aussies that I know keep telling me the same thing. It's like, why don't I keep asking my Aussie folks that I was like, why do you keep putting up with this tyranny? And my buddy, I'm going to make an Australian accent that I'm going to butcher. So sorry, but these are his words. He's in Sydney. He's never left Australia. He's been there his whole life. And a bunch of Aussies tell me the same. They say, well, we just all, what does he say? It's this, she'll be right, mate, philosophy, In other words, you're just going to keep putting up with it and keep putting up with it and keep putting up with it, letting you bend over, break you, drop you to your knees. The question is, where does it end? That's not my call. I wish everybody the best. If you're interested in a Python wallet that I 100% hand make myself, let me know. Send me a message. Everybody keeps asking me to make some Python wallet. This is a long hide. This hide just keeps... Anyway, that's a big snake. Man. Hope you have a good one. Catch you later.